All right, I think it's probably kicked off already because of the virtual. Night 2 of the DNC 2020. Night 1 was a unmitigated disaster. Yeah, they had Michelle Obama and the usual sycophants came out and just, praised everything about her. She, whatever, you could pick apart. Say, oh, she's lying about this. She's lying about that. Yeah, okay. Cuomo was the most egregious in terms of lies because he just was like, yeah, we did great. I didn't kill 11,000 people because I mishandled things and put COVID patients in nursing homes when we had open hospitals with hundreds, if not thousands, of beds available. So he killed 11,000 people because he screwed up. He should resign over that if he had any dignity. So should the governors of New Jersey and Pennsylvania because they did the same thing. And I think actually, is it Michigan's governor? Yeah, Whitmer. She did the same thing. So, whatever. You guys don't want to take responsibility for it. Fine. Everything was crappy. The speeches were bizarre, and the pre-recorded stuff was terrible. Sanders did all right, but he prostituted himself because, he was never about the revolution. He's about the money. Sorry, guys. If he's bending the knee to this DNC, he was never genuine in the first place. So, oh well, too bad, so sad, right? But the ending, I think Eva Longoria was like the host or whatever. She says, whatever, good night. And they cut to a music video. And it's probably the most unintentionally funny political thing in history. I don't think it could have been crafted to be more cringy and tone deaf than. I mean, it was just one of the. It's funny, but it's equally just droppingly inept. Democrats, the huge advantage Democrats have is they usually have the entertainment industry to just throw celebrities at whatever the problem is, right? They'll come out, they'll make a PSA, and they'll lecture you. But point being is their production value has always been pretty damn good. I mean, even with the Hillary Clinton stuff, I thought Trump's did a much better job than Mitt Romney or particularly John McCain back in the day, in terms of like RNC versus DNC. But the production value's never been a problem for the Democrats until this year. What the hell, guys? Like, I mean, you gonna at least put up a fight? I mean, we're used to like not having the cool people and trying to figure out how to convert to MP4 so we can put it on the web. We've got older people running the party, and in some cases, and it was really, we don't get the hip and the cool kids because you guys hijack everybody because Hollywood's a cult essentially, right? Well, whoever was running the show before, or I guess 10 years ago, 4 years ago, whatever, whoever was in charge is not in charge this time because, oh my God. Billy Porter, I don't know who he is. No idea who Billy Porter is, and I don't think anybody watching that's, I think, under probably 35 knows who Billy Porter is. I definitely don't. Stephen Stills, I just know that he's from the original band that sung For What It's Worth. And it was like a 60s protest Vietnam song. A catchy song, right? But he's not like a. I don't know. It's like it's a really weird guy to just dig up. But he's talented, so at least he had that going. And basically, they're playing For What It's Worth, and it's like kind of like a half-ass cover. But the production value, it's like green screen. It was like a Mega 64 video or like a Tim and Eric sketch. If you haven't seen it, look it up. Look up like Billy Porter or Stephen Stills 2020 DNC video. It's like a Tim and Eric video. It's unintentionally. It's such bad, such boomer level production quality. Like it looks like maybe this is like a shit post about the DNC. Like maybe this is actually like comedy genius. It's that bad. It's that baffling. Like, you watch it and you're like, who the hell approved that? Like, that's the kind of thing that would pop up on like a YouTube channel or in like a local local state senate campaign or something like really cheesy, right? Where you see like little kids or a middle school kid make. It was that level quality. Have you ever seen there's I haven't seen The Worst Witch, but there's a music video for Anything Can Happen on Halloween with like Tim Curry, and it's like old green screen technology. That's probably the closest thing I could compare this music video to. There were a couple interesting things, and I think if my jaw hadn't been dislocated just from being shocked that this even existed, I went back and I watched it again just to make sure I confirmed what I was seeing. So they've got the American flag in the background when it starts. Everything white is covered. So the white stripes are covered by blue. And it's a cover, because like you see when the graphics move, like it's actually like another layer. So they cover up the white. And then the white stars, white American stars, are covered up with red stars, like the Soviet Union. I don't know. Maybe it was just a style choice that was really ugly and awful. But it added to the garbage production quality, which made it really funny. And then basically the guy starts the song. He does this like cape thing, and like there's really hard cuts. If you haven't done any video production, and it's been a couple years since I've since I've had like basically the software that was relevant. But particularly when you're doing stuff with the green screen and having like objects fly in, the difference essentially between something that looks really amateurish and professional is essentially the use of easing. And the way easing is really, I'm going to try to explain this as fast as I can. Easing is basically the natural acceleration that occurs when you move an object that makes it look real. Because in a computer, when you tell something to point A to point B, it doesn't even accelerate. It starts moving at that speed. Sometimes you'll see horror movies where there'll be like quick cuts of something's moving really weird. It's usually because they mess with the easing or like eliminate it, and then it gets really choppy, and then it looks very unnatural. Well, if you're a complete amateur and you're doing like a green screen video with effects and stuff, you pretty much eliminate easing, particularly if it's like a person entering the screen. Like, you don't fade them in, they just squirt. It looks like a Tim and Eric sketch, and it's funny. It's funny. It looks like a YouTube video from like 2006 that you would have just kind of stumbled across if you just searched for like low view videos. It's fantastically hilarious. I appreciate the style. That I don't think that's what they intended. But that's how this whole video is done. Some of the background graphics actually use easing, but like every time it cuts to, I guess, Billy Porter or Steven stills, there's no easing, and it's jarring, but shockingly terrible. Someone should have watched it, even if they didn't. Even if you were like an older person and you didn't understand like easing or like why this looked weird, you probably should have like you pick up on like, what is this? This doesn't look professional. Okay, whatever. Easing. As for the symbolism, basically, blue covering the white on the flag with Soviet red stars instead of white stars. I don't know what the hell that was about. And then this group of hands, who are like protesters or whatever, come up, and the flag is torn to pieces. Like it like breaks apart in all directions. Okay, guys, what are you telling us? Then he's dancing and singing, and there's these hard cuts and horrible angles and like green screen cropping where it's like him from this, like it's the dude from the side, and like his head's like facing like this, but then like it goes down to his waist, but instead of having it where like your waist would go off the screen a little bit so that it wouldn't look like you were just like a floating like half torso, like he's just a floating half torso. It's just like really really bad editing choices. And while that's going on, there's BLM and some Antifa imagery in the background. And then there's also like peace signs and stuff, and they're just, it was just like really like tone deaf. But it's like, guys, you do realize how unpopular that the rioting and shit is right now. Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you ending your thing with that? Whatever. That's what they chose to do. Super cringy. And then they're saying there's a couple of different lyrics. One of them's like change, and it's like big bright like Sesame Street letters. Like just taking up the whole screen, like again, like a Tim and Eric sketch. And then over a crowd and the word change, the flag like reassembles at the end, and it's like, again, it's like blue, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna change America to be whatever the hell that was. I mean, America right now is kind of a Too Many Cooks video from Adult Swim, so it wouldn't be that far off. But from reality, but I don't know. Even the messaging was off putting. Normally, you can say something really terrible and hippie or stupid, but if you present it really, really well, people either won't pick up on it or they'll endorse it just because it looks pretty. That's messaging, right? That's the power of messaging. That's why it's so hard to... Basically, the left took over the culture, and it's been really, really hard to even try to pry little bits of them away. This wasn't the way for them to hold their lead. I mean, whatever the Republicans put together, I hope they do a spoof of this. I hope they bring up some like old... They try to recreate the style of whatever the hell this was, because it's so ripe for parody, because it's basically parodies of it already exist. It was that incompetent. It was like a Tim and Eric sketch. I don't know who's directing it. Maybe it's somebody who's like a disgruntled like democratic socialist or something, and is like, well, I'm going to make the DNC look as embarrassing as possible. But you think, right? But like, that's something that would release on like a private YouTube channel and go around as like a viral video, right? No, this had to be like screened by like John Podesta and like all these people for messaging and quality, and nobody had the balls to stand up and say, guys, this is shit, we can't run this, or they really are that out of touch. So whatever, it's encouraging because if they're this incompetent going into November, then I mean, they're gonna get smoked. All right, so whatever. Look up that video. Enjoy it, because it's just baffling.